Hi everyone, my name is N and we are back! Today I return with another Draw With Me video, but this time I'm going to draw poses. Now, just a disclaimer, this is not a tutorial. This is just a drawing session where I do yap about what my brain cells tell me while I draw poses. So for those of you who don't know, my name is N, and I'm an artist on Instagram, mostly known for drawing mini comics of my OCs, Dahlia and Ren. To be honest, I really wanted to film this video in the Met, because it's such a beautiful place to look at statues and just draw like all these beautiful Greek statues. Unfortunately, when I did get there, I got too intimidated to film in public, and I got scared that I'm not allowed to film content in there and that the security would kick me out and I'd be too embarrassed to come back. So I did take pictures of some of the beautiful statues, and I will be using those as my warm-up. So I started learning anatomy when I was in my 4th year of college. In high school and elementary school, I've tried learning how to do it, but I think for like a 12-year-old, at that time that was like too much for me to process, and I never really understood any of the videos that I tried to watch. And in college, I actually joined this drawing workshop, and one of the topics that they talked about was gesture drawing. So that was the first time I was introduced to that topic, and surprisingly, my college brain cells was able to understand what I needed to do. So I learned a little bit about that from the workshop, and then I did a little bit more of a deep dive by myself through YouTube videos, and from then on it's been a continuous learning process. So I've been learning anatomy and drawing poses since college, and I wouldn't say that I made a lot of progress. I'm not that much of a diligent artist that I would study every day just to enhance my skills, but I did get the basics of it. And so the one thing that I do look for when I'm drawing poses is I would either find the flow of the spine, or I would chop up the pose into big shapes. So sometimes there are shapes that's kind of chunky looking to me, like the way the pose is done and the flow of the movement kind of looks chunky. So when the pose is like that, I just like to go in and find the overall big shape. Sometimes the shapes would make a letter Y or a letter L, those kind of things. And sometimes it's kind of hard to draw a shape out of it, especially for the more fluid poses, like for dancing and all of that. So that would be the time where I would look for the flow of the spine. And then from there on, I would just try to figure out where the other parts would go. So I would draw the spine first and how it's supposed to flow. And then I would just place the chunky shapes that I made for the different body parts. I'm probably not making sense. Hence, this is why it's not a tutorial. So I hope you can bear with me. So one tip I could give when you are trying to find the big shape of a pose is to squint your eyes or blur out the image, because that would help you get rid of the smaller details and just help you focus on the overall shape. So after that, I would try to chop that big shape into smaller shapes. If I drew this big square for the chest, then I would try to chop it into smaller pieces. Like this is where the chest is supposed to be, this is where the abs are supposed to be, and something like that. I feel like doing this really just helps me think less of the smaller details, because I think a lot of times when I was learning how to draw poses, one of the big things that would always keep me from drawing the pose well was focusing too much on the details. You don't really need a lot of details to draw a pose, I think I think you guys can see in my art style there's not much detail because I want your eyes to focus on the big things. Sometimes I put little details, but it has to be something that's going to enhance the big detail, the big thing. Something like that. Also, one thing that you could look into is finding the negative space in the pose. This usually I use to measure the distance between one body part to another, like the distance between the arm and the head, or the arm and the chest. So shapes are everywhere. I think my favorite word in art is probably shapes, but yes. It gets really easy to get intimidated in drawing a pose because there's so much going on, like the arm goes here, the foot goes there. But if you focus on the big thing first, that's going to help you kind of like keep your brain from overthinking and overheating. Aside from all of these, I think the most important thing is learning your anatomy. I know that anatomy can be a bit intimidating. You do need to learn it because it's gonna help you understand how the body is working while doing that pose. Sometimes you get a pose where they have clothes on, and you need to be able to have a good basic of your anatomy to kind of like figure out, like, oh, if the hand is here and it's connected to this joint on the shoulder, and the shoulder is connected to this bone on the chest, and then the ribs, and then you'll be able to kind of like understand how the body is working inside, underneath the clothes. Truthfully, you don't really need to master it and know all the body parts word for word. I don't even know it. I've been learning it since college, but I still don't know what they're called. But I remember what they look like and who their neighbors are and where they are connected, and that's it. But just getting the general knowledge of where things should be is going to be really helpful when drawing poses. I use these anatomy books from this author, and it was my first ever anatomy book, and it has been so helpful. I don't know, it just really helped me a lot, so I got mine from the bookstore. It's probably on Amazon too. Also, I think one thing that we do need to learn when we're drawing poses is we need to unlearn to be perfectionists. Not every single output that we make has to be perfect. Even for me, when I do draw poses, I don't copy it by the book. I like to just draw how I would interpret it, kind of. But yeah, I think a lot of times when people tackle drawing poses, they get frustrated because the pose is not right. This leg is too long, and a lot of times people stop because they get too frustrated. So I think it's important to remember to just have fun. Drawing should be something that you enjoy. It shouldn't be something that's just going to stress you out. I think failure is a good measurement of success, because whenever I look back at my old drawings, I remember how I would used to struggle drawing this kind of pose or these kinds of body parts, and after years of just practicing and just drawing it because, I love drawing, it's so much fun, and now I'm here and I would do those poses and do those drawings, and it's just much easier for me now. And that was because I never stopped. I didn't let perfection or failure frustrate me and cause me to stop. So, yeah. You guys should just have fun. Don't overthink. Drawing is a joy to be able to do. I also like to draw funny faces on the poses that I make, especially the ones that I feel like I didn't do very well, because it makes me laugh, and that kind of just helps get rid of the stressful emotions I start to feel when I'm just not doing it right or doing it the way I want it to be. So yeah, I think that is all for my yap session. If you guys do want to learn more about drawing poses and anatomy, there is a lot of really good videos out there. I search mostly for gesture drawing, and dynamic pose tutorials. This YouTuber called Ethan Becker was also really helpful, especially when like drawing dynamic poses and helping making them look more alive in a way. So yeah, you guys can go check him out. He will be much more helpful than me. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed our drawing session for the month. And so yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope you guys had fun drawing poses with me. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!